welcome to NERDGOBLINart. I'm Lula. I have my dragon moulds out. Now, I have had these for the longest time, and I was actually kind of gifted them. I'm going to use dragon flakes, silver flakes for the moon, and also I'm going to use nebula for parts of the dragon. And those are from Tiny Turner. Now this one I've never actually done this one. I've done the other one, but never done this one. And I'm going to use Let's Resin teal and olive and fuchsia flakes. Just to see, you know, if there's any difference whatsoever really. I've already got my resin mixed up and I'll be adding the black mica powder to that mix, and I'm using Apex resin from Just For You Online UK. So when you are burnishing onto moulds, whatever colour is touching the mould first is the colour you are going to get when you demould. So where flakes are concerned, because flakes go everywhere, they are crazy. So I chose to start off with the pigment powders first because it is so much easier to clean off pigment powders than it is flakes. So bear that in mind if you do anything similar. You know, if you're going to be doing a mixture of flakes and powders, you know, make that your consideration. Now, I will link in my description box where you can get these moulds. They are on Etsy. I can't remember the name, even though it says, it's right there and I can't read it. I can't see it from here. But I will link it in the description box below. There's the same Etsy seller that I love my Raven and Bat and Death Moth earrings from, if you've been watching and you've seen those ones. So after putting on the pigment powder, I can just carefully go around with my wipe. You can also use isopropyl alcohol and cotton buds or micro brushes, but it was just easy enough to wipe off with that. So I'm going to use the silver flakes now for the moon. This is a fantastic flake. It really is beautiful and it goes on so well. And you get, you know, I believe it's around £6 is what I paid, and I think that's really reasonable. The pots look small, yes, but it goes a long way. Now, this is, I think, the third project I've used these flakes on, and it still looks like there is plenty in it, and there is. But as flakes do, when it comes to the silicone, the flakes want to just fly. They really do. The flakes want to fly and they want to go static. You know, it's the static. They want to just attach and fly with everything. So I'm just using a little bit of kitchen roll. No, it's not. I was just using a piece of tissue that I happened to have next to me. So I just grabbed that because that was the nearest. So that was just helping me a little bit in regards to the static and of course protecting the body of the dragon, which I want to use the dragon flakes on. Now, these are brand new. I've not used them before. I ordered them from Toonfish, from Wendy, and they're by the Tiny Turner. So I've not used these ones before. Bearing in mind that both these moulds are matte. So where flakes are concerned, and very often the pigment powders, they are going to be better in a glossy mould, in more of the shiny moulds. But that's fine because once this is cured, we can put on some UV resin just to highlight and bring out those colours. Because, you know, I think that's it's a good thing, because these molds are so lovely. I love dragons. I think that's fair. We've done quite a few. But of course you've got to use a flake called dragon in a dragon mold. But I'm happy using it for my first outing. It's really, really pretty. It does remind me of Arcane, the pigment powder, which is my absolute favourite, which is one of my absolute favourites. So just cleaning off those brushes because I can use them on this guy. And once again, I'm going to do the pigment powders first, and just making sure, because those flakes, like I said, they did fly a little bit, and just making sure. Yeah, they fly everywhere. And it's also why I'm wearing a mask. You don't want to be breathing it in. So we've got olive, teal, and fuchsia flakes. I'm just trying to decide at this moment. I was trying to decide what I wanted to put where. So the teal I'm going to put on the, he's got like a little beak. And of course his, I can't think of what it's called. It's almost like armor, you know, on his chest. But I'm going to be putting it on his chest plates, on his beak, right there, right by there. I'm going to put a little bit on his eye as well, just so it's a bit different to the rest of him. Because the eyes are so small, so I really don't want to be trying to get a different colour, really. And into his horns, and also the end of his tail, and the bone structure of his wings. And the olive I'm going to use on the body, the scaly part of his body, and then the fuchsia flakes will be for his wings. And again, this is a matte mold. It's still going to look awesome, don't get me wrong, it will still look ace, but we will be shining it up. I'm going to play you some music while I finish off burnishing this dragon.
Colored chaos in my head, brush strokes dance where canvas bled. Resin pools make rivers wild, clay sculpts dreams like a child. Layers thick with frantic love, paint drips down, sky above. Hands so messy, heart so clean, art machine fueled by caffeine. I create midnight's glow, blended whispers no one knows. Resin dripping to the floor, clay and paint forevermore. Fingers working silent screams, brushes swirling broken dreams. Color bursts just like a storm, resin glazes clay. Born. I create midnight's glow, blended whispers no one knows. Resin Mixed media makes me thrive. Art's a space where chaos sings, beauty woven through the strings.
Stirring the pot with a weary eye, reason flows on a hopeful side. Colors blend in a liquid dance, trusting the chaos, taking a chance. Droplets fall like April rain. Will this craft bring joy or pain? Bubbles rise like whispered doubts, chasing dreams that scream and shout. Pouring resin, hearts in bloom. Will it shine or seal our doom? Fingers crossed with every pore, seeking beauty, craving more. Watch the swirls take their flight in the darkest, deepest night, hoping fate will weave itself in the blue where secrets dwell. Flecks of gold and shades of blue, wonders hidden in the goo. Will it set in perfect form or shatter like a summer storm? Pouring resin, hearts in bloom. Will it shine or seal our doom? Fingers crossed with every pore, seeking beauty, craving more.
No, we don't want any bubbles in the goo. Okay, so you saw when I was using a wipe to clean out the moulds. Afterwards, I used some kitchen paper, and I did not rub, or rub hard or anything of the sort. I dabbed. So always do that with your moulds, because you could end up scratching them up, and you don't want to do that. Your moulds are a tool, they're part of, and you don't want to just, end them sooner than they need to be. So that is looking super pretty, as is this one. Just giving it a tap off. Look at that. Oh, so pretty. So these need their resin, and I'm going to be using this black mica powder. You don't have to use black. Black definitely works the best where these are concerned. You can even use white, and it's just not going to be as strong. It's not going to be as intense. And you can also use, you can pick colours that you have within the mica powders, the pigment powders, the flakes, and you can, cover them with that. But I'm going for black. I want the intense colours to come through. The mica powder that I'm using today, I will link it in my description box below. It is from Amazon. I've been using it for a long time now. The little pots of latex resin and such, they are very small. So with things like this, with makes like this where the colour, the black is right in the background, I use this stuff. I don't need a shimmer, and the black latex resin does give you a little bit of a shimmer. I do have a few other brands as well. So when pouring the resin into this mould, there's lots of little nooks and crannies where those bubbles can cling on and hide. So you saw that I filled it up a little bit, then I gave it a little, some encouragement with my silicone tool. And it's important not to spray the mould with isopropyl alcohol before you put in your resin, because you've put colours on there and you run the risk of the isopropyl alcohol taking away some of those colours, and you don't want to do that after you've worked hard to actually burnish them on in the first place. I don't know why, but I didn't think to use my heat gun. And afterwards I was like, well, why didn't I do that? But you can. You could use your heat gun, you could use a lighter, but if you are using the isopropyl alcohol, just be wary of causing any flames. Not looking at anybody in particular, Karen of the Dragon's Den. And she's gonna love these. She loves dragons. It's funny that, isn't it? I think it's a Welsh thing. It's mainly a Welsh thing. So as you can see, I'm adding little bits, spraying, having a little, wander with the silicone tool and spraying. And I really should have used my heat gun as well. It's a useful tool in the fight of bubbles. And I also could have put the resin through the debubbler, but I chose not to because this is a very good resin for degassing. And I gently stirred in as well. So there we go. And of course, I do have some resin left over. And do not worry, there is going to be an extra. There always is, because we like the extras. And of course, I didn't know how much resin I kind of knew how much the moon dragon takes, but they're very deceptive. So I'm glad I had the extra because I had another mould sitting in the wings anyway. So there we go. Just making sure and babysitting it for 5, but bear in mind that the work time with this resin is about 20 to 25 minutes, and I wanted it to sit. I split it in different cups and I wanted it to sit to give it a chance to degas after it had its mix. So it is starting to feel a little bit warm because I did take a little bit of time burnishing these guys in. And usually I say to people, oh, you should do your burnishing first. Now this is a mould by the same person as made the other ones. Sorry, I forgot words. I just forgot words. And I'm going to use the olive from Let's Resin in the skull, and I'm going to use the Tiny Turner's Nebula for the dragon. Just for a giggle, because I can. I'm not concerned about getting the skull's eyes because obviously this is going to be backed in black and shadow is a thing. So it just so happens that it seems to be falling into that space. So once again, just using a wipe in the areas I didn't want the olive colour. There we go. It's a very nice colour actually, lovely gold flecks to it. And the nebula is more of a pinky, which is nice. We want a pink dragon. Wasn't Barney? Barney was pink. Flashback. There we go, and in it goes. And just making sure it's all burnished in nicely and hitting as many points as possible. And you can see every now and again I kind of squeeze. You can see me bending it open. It's basically, these moulds can take it. They are chunky boys. So they can take this little bit of manipulation, and I'm just pulling them open slightly just to make sure that the colours are getting down there into the detail. And when I add the resin as well, you'll see how I pull them open slightly to try and make sure to get that resin, because it's getting a little bit thick now from warmth. It's doing as resin does. So just to make sure that it's getting down into those nooks and crannies, and we're trying to, you know, not have too many of the bubbles. So in it goes. This is actually a really good thing to do with like the Into resin, like Orchid mould. That one it's a beautiful mould, but it's a bugger basically, and this is what I do with that mould as well. So just pulling it open, making sure that that resin is going where it needs to go. There it goes. And just being careful on the wings, because I don't want too much overage here. So being wary that the wings at the bottom points, there they towards the bottom, it is quite shallow. So paying attention to that, and just using, as you can see, my silicone tool just to encourage the resin to make its way back down there. And again, I didn't use it for some reason. I happened, if in this moment, I completely forgot that the heat gun existed. I don't know why. It is what it is, you know. And we used isopropyl alcohol anyway. As you can see there, see, a lot of spray there. And I do keep an eye on these for 20 minutes or so, half an hour after I finished filming. Just pop in any bubbles if they happen to come up. There we go, just like that. Magic. So, waiting game. But we don't like the waiting game, so you only have to wait for a moment. So these are cured. They are very, very, very slightly soft, but in all honesty, just like with my froggy mould, I prefer taking these kind of ones out slightly soft, very slightly. But check it out. And even though this is a matte mould, I think it looks great. Yes, a few little bubbles here in it, but it's a dragon and it's a skull, so you know it can be part of it. I really like that. Part of me is it could be like a brooch. It's a very big brooch though. I really like that. It's lovely. And I'm going to unmold these, but I'm gonna unmold them both, and then we'll turn them over and have a look. They come out really nicely actually. The only part, and it is with every dragon mold actually, is the tail. Always gotta be careful with the tail. Even on my large dragon from Pouring Your Heart Out, the tail's always a bit funny. So here we go. Not bad. I really like it, but you can see where I missed a little bit. But that's fine, because I'll fill that in with a chrome marker. And we're going to be putting over some UV resin just to bring out those colours a little bit more. And gorgeous. I was not entirely sure what to expect with this one, because I've never used this mould before. And I really, really like it. And I think those colours are gorgeous. Really, really pretty. I was thinking Pete's Dragon, you know, Elliot. So I went for those colours because it made me think of Elliot. I do love that. Oh, awesome. So I'm using some UV resin now, and that UV resin is from JDiction. It's my go-to UV resin. It's my favourite one to use. Where the wings are concerned, I'm just being a little bit more, using a tool. I just want to make sure that I get into all those folds of the wing. So using the silicone tool for that and looking out for bubbles as well. I'm just doing a cursory go over with the UV torch, and then I will pull out the UV lamp just to make sure it is all nicely and fully cured. Once I've done the wings, I'll turn my attention to a couple of the micro bubbles that are there. I don't mind it. It's the thing, you can be precious about them. I'm not in particular, because I'm looking at what I've created. It's the medium. He might be this dragon might have been in a few battles, so he might have a few, snags here and there, which I really don't mind. It doesn't bother me at all. But some of them are a bit more too pronounced, so I will use the UV resin and the silicone tool to make sure that those are sorted out a bit more, just because it's more, pleasing to the eye. Now, when the wings are done, and I'm happy with those wings and any of the micro bubbles, I'll just revert to just using my finger to go over the actual body of the dragon. You will need, and I did need to put them under the UV lamp for 5 minutes or more. I did put it under for a few rounds just to make sure that it wasn't sticky, because nobody likes a sticky dragon. No. Right, I'm going to play you some music now while I get on with this bit, and I'll be doing the same with the other dragon as well.
Got my colors and my gloves on. Pour the resin till the jug's gone. Hoping bubbles don't invade the zone in this little world I call my own. Stirring gently with a wooden stick, feeling like a chemist is pretty slick. Pour it steady, let the magic flow into molds where dreams will grow. Mix it up and let it set. Don't look back, don't you fret. Art's a journey, not a race. Watch the resin light up the place. Clock is ticking as it starts to cure. Every layer tells a story pure. Adding sparkles, maybe gold dust. This creation's built on trust. In the mess I find my zen, where mistakes can be my friend. Just relax, enjoy the ride. In this art I'm free inside. Mix it up and let it set. Don't look back, don't you fret. Art's a journey, not a race. Watch the resin light up the place.
Well, that was a lovely bit of music, wasn't it? So got my lamp out, and that always happens. I always end up I've got to glue them in. I always end up pulling them out. So I'm just using my finger over this dragon. And this will be going underneath the lamp as well. There's no need to film all of that. Of them doing their rounds underneath the lamp. So we will edit that out and jump to the next part of the video. So these are done. They've had over 5 minutes. I made sure they had extra under the UV lamp so they're not sticky at all. And with this one, I used my chrome marker just to fill in underneath his tail where I missed the bit of the moon, and I also used the marker on the wing where I dusted for the moon instead of the wing, and I just UV'd over those, so really happy with them. So I have been at the tip shop again, and I've got some more frames, hooray! So I've already removed the glass out of these. There's no need for the glass because the dragons are too big. And I've glued on this lovely paper. I don't know where it's from. I've had it for years. So I have no idea where it came from. There's no packaging. It came from a book, I remember that much. But it's lovely though. And I glued that on whilst I was waiting for the UV lamp is what I was trying to think of. So my glue gun's at the ready. So I'm going to be using this to stick these in place and burning my finger. That's why I quickly moved my hand away. I was really quickly moving and getting the glue gun, the bit of, the hot glue off my finger. I don't think I've got fingerprints left, by the way, but that one did hurt. It caught me at a funny angle. So check it. Isn't it lovely? I love it. I love finding these types of frames. I really do. Absolutely love it when I find these kinds of frames in tip shops or charity shops. I really need to do another round as well because I'm running out. So this frame's quite an old one, and I had to really work to get it out. I'm not quite sure what the fastenings are, but they were hard to deal with. And it had all tape around it, but I will replace the tape. I have got some brown tape, actual photograph tape, so photo frame tape I should say, and I think he looks absolutely awesome in that frame. Isn't it wonderful? And it's nice as well when you don't have to do anything with the frames. I'm quite, if I find a frame that I really like but isn't the right colour, I will, spray them, paint them, whatever I need to do. But I'm really happy with these. They, pretty old looking, and I really don't mind that they're not super shiny or anything because I think it goes with the whole thing. And it's not quite in, so I'm using one of my palette knives because it'll hurt my fingers. It is so they're like steel, metally. It's really hard and sharp stuff. So I can see why whoever this frame was used for, I can see why it had the frame like framer's tape on it. So I will make sure I cover it over. But I am so pleased with it. They just make me smile. And I'll also put like a hook on the back of that one as well. Didn't have one. I think it'd come off at some point. Might have been why it was in the tip shop. So really pleased with those. And this one, I'm not even worried about putting a UV coating on this one. I will keep my eyes open for a smaller frame. I've only got really large ones left now. But I'm so pleased with it. And I really don't mind some of the little like bubbles and stuff. I think is perfect. Subscribers, thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your likes and your comments. It really makes me happy. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It's absolutely free and it helps my channel. Thank you for watching. Love you and stay weird.
Nerd Goblin art draws magic worlds with foxes that prance and badgers that dance. A whirlwind of dreams with a single glance. Gerald the alligator grins so wide. In enchanted waters he loves to hide. Dragons breathe wonder with flames so bright, each creature born from a magic night. Nerd Goblin paints life in every brush. Animals frolic in a vibrant rush. From canvases to tales they leap, in a realm where fantasy meets deep. The studio's alive with swirling paint, creatures so pure they need no saint. Sketches of foxes with tails of light, badgers with moonlit fur in flight.